Football, and we'll have to start with tonight's matches. It's all about Group E at this point. The group is very competitive and very open, talking about a group that has Chelsea Football Club, Salzburg, Milan, and Dynamo Zagreb. The latest has to be Chelsea. Let's start from there. Chelsea against Salzburg. That's a match that should be entertaining. The reverse fixture ended 1-1 at Stamford Bridge, and that was, in fact, the debut match of Graham Potter, Chelsea's coach. So this time around, it's Chelsea away from home. Chelsea, yes, did the double against AC Milan, but they can't afford to lose this game. We know quite well that N'Golo Kante won't be playing in this. We know that also you won't also have James Reece, playing in this as well. Kovacic with a bit of knock from the match against Manchester United. That stalemate over the weekend. But you should expect that Chelsea have a near to full strength when it comes to squad depth. So it should be a healthy squad in quotes going into the match. But Salzburg, as difficult as they come, they drew against AC Milan 1-1 during the opening fixture of this season's UEFA Champions League right at home. They've been able to take a point off Chelsea away from home. This looks like a team that has all it takes to cause an upset if Chelsea is not careful. Chelsea currently top the group with 7 points and from 4 games. You have Salzburg with 6 points from 4 games. AC Milan are third with 4 points from 4 games, and Dynamo Zagreb are fourth with 4 points as well from 4 games. So this is a match where Chelsea can afford to sleep. A draw definitely will do Chelsea a whole lot of good, as that will place them on 8 points while Salzburg will be on 7 points. But if Salzburg gets a win, then it's the Austrian side that will be topping the table with 9 points from 5 games, while Chelsea will have to wait and to get the job done at home against Dinamo Zagreb. So let's see how this pans out. It's a game that offers so much. You expect Noah Okafor to lead the lines for RB Salzburg. There are a whole lot of Nigerians in that team as well, about 9 of them when you talk about the entire squad. So it will be intriguing to see if more players get in at some point. Where Tom Adeyemi also in the mix. But Salzburg at home is a tricky tie for Chelsea Football Club, and one that Graham Potter will be hoping they at least take a point off so as to consolidate on their top spot in that group. Let's still talk about the group, but turn to the other fixture of the game, talking about AC Milan. AC Milan will be in action, and this time around it's away from home against Dinamo Zagreb. Now, this is a very tricky one for AC Milan. They couldn't even get a point off Chelsea over 2 legs, and they are now third with 4 points from 4 games. You have Dinamo Zagreb, their opponents, with 4 points from 4 games, although Dinamo Zagreb are at the bottom of the group, and that's because AC Milan has a superior goal difference, which is -3 to a superior goal difference to that of Dinamo Zagreb. It makes it more tricky, as I said earlier. If both teams play out a draw, it means both teams will have 5 points, and that is not good for both teams in terms of their chances of qualifying for the next round of the UEFA Champions League. Remember, AC Milan will still have to play Salzburg at San Siro, so they need to win this for AC Milan. They need to win this to assure themselves of a very good footing or standing when it comes to qualifying with the last match of the group to play at home against Salzburg. For Dinamo Zagreb, they can't afford to lose. AC Milan, yes, still without Mike Mayan. That's the #1 goalkeeper for the side. But you have Tata Shirano still leading the lines, and they warmed up to this match, or for this match rather, with a comprehensive 4-1 win over Monza. Although you expect the opposition, which is Dinamo Zagreb, to offer more resistance and make the match more competitive than Monza did over the weekend. Rafael Leao got a goal for himself, his 5th goal in the Italian Serie A, and looks like he would lead the line once again for AC Milan. Divock Origi finally getting a goal for himself, although he got a knock in that match after scoring. And you can't rule out the fact that Theo Hernandez is still in the mix. Brahim Diaz looking like he's born again in that sense, scoring a brace over the weekend. Another stunning goal, solo goal from him. So AC Milan will be going into this with lots of momentum and belief. Let's see if they can make it happen this time around. Let's move away from there now and talk about another team, another Italian team that needs to win its match, and it's Juventus against Benfica. Now, the match against Benfica is a tricky one for Juventus because the reverse fixture, Juventus lost by 2-1 right there at the Allianz Stadium in Turin. This time around, it's Benfica who is at home, and you expect them to bank on home support to win. This is a side that is unbeaten in the group, and that's talking about Group H. That group has Benfica, Juventus, PSG, and Maccabi Haifa. Juventus did themselves no good at all when they lost by 2-0 on match day 4 to Maccabi Haifa, and that leaves them with 3 points. They face an early exit, or the prospect of an early exit, as it were, because if they fail to win today, you can be assured that they will be out. They will be eliminated from the group stages, and that's because PSG against Maccabi Haifa is the other match in that group, and you expect PSG at the Parc des Princes, which is their home ground, to at least get a victory over Maccabi Haifa, even if it's just a lone goal, and that will place PSG on 11 points, while Benfica will just need to handle destiny in their own hands. Talking about today's clash against Benfica. Benfica will be at home, and it's against Juventus. Juventus have a whole lot to battle with. They're still 8th when it comes to the Italian Serie A. Domestically, they are not in good form. On the continental scene, well, they're in shambles, as it were, and Massimiliano Allegri is under intense pressure at this point in time. Juventus need to win to stand a chance of qualifying for the next round. All Benfica needs to do is secure a draw. A draw will be enough to, condemn Juventus to an early exit from the UEFA Champions League, talking about the group stages, while Benfica will book their place in the next round. So it's also played for from Juventus' standpoint, but for Benfica, it's all about getting a draw. Benfica and PSG tied up on 8 points. Juventus are third in the group with 3 points, and you have Maccabi Haifa as well with 3 points. So Juventus must win to avoid early exit. Let's see how that pans out. Let's move away from there and wrap up our preview of tonight's matches with Real Madrid against RB Leipzig. Now, that's a match that is entertaining and should really provide the goods. Talking about RB Leipzig against Real Madrid. Real Madrid away from home already guaranteed of a place in the round of 16, courtesy of their first 4 games, where they won 3 games and won 1. 10 points Real Madrid. So it's Real Madrid who will be going into this, you want to say a bit nonchalant, because they really have nothing to play for, but they still also play for RB Leipzig. They're second in that group with 6 points, and you have Shakhtar Donetsk, the Ukrainian side, with 5 points. So it's a battle for who comes or who finishes second in that group. A win for RB Leipzig will put them through, and they will be banking on Timo Werner, that's the former Chelsea man, as well as Christopher Nkunku, who was linked to Chelsea over the summer, even with talks of having carried out a medical with Chelsea Football Club to get them the goals. Real Madrid, as I said earlier, it's seemingly a non-consequential match for them, and they will inconsequential match for them. They will probably want to relax a bit, but you can't rule out the fact that Real Madrid are a competitive team and will still want to go out all fighting. So RB Leipzig have a whole lot. You should also keep an eye on the other match between Shakhtar Donetsk and Celtic, because if Shakhtar Donetsk wins, which you probably expect them to do, then they have 8 points, and that piles the pressure on RB Leipzig, especially for that race for the runners-up spots in that group. For the Brooklyn Nets, it was a match where you had Kyrie Irving also starring for them. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it done, as the Memphis Grizzlies prevailed over the Brooklyn Nets. Talking about the Nets themselves, you have to give to Kevin Durant as well as flowers. You had Irving and Durant combining for 37 points to ensure that the pull through. But it was Ja Morant and Desmond Bain who combined for 76 points, 38 points apiece, as the Memphis Grizzlies stars shone like a million stars to get through the Nets. Talking about Ja Morant as well as Desmond Bain, apart from the 38 points they contributed in terms of scoring, both players also had 7 assists apiece, and it just shows you how instrumental they were to the win for the Grizzlies. The win places the Grizzlies with a record of 3 wins and a loss to the start of the season, while for the Brooklyn Nets, it's not looking too good, as it's 1 loss and 1 win rather, and 2 losses to the start of the season. You also had Santi Aldona scoring 17 points for the Grizzlies, while you had Nick Claxton scoring 16 points for the Brooklyn Nets. It was an entertaining match, and it is the first time you had teammates in the game scoring that much since the 1980s. Talking about the Grizzlies, especially with Ja Morant and Desmond Bain. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant also showing that they have what it takes to lead the Nets through. You had Ben Simmons, the swingman for the Brooklyn Nets, getting fouled out and ejected from the game. It's yet to be seen if he would, star as much as Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But excuse me, but it is a very good start to the season for the Grizzlies, who will be banking on Ja Morant, to progress once again. Let's move away from there now and talk about the Celtics. Yes, the Boston Celtics were also in action this morning, and this time around they lost as they were not able to get the better of Chicago Bulls. It must be said that the Celtics had an early lead of 19 points in the first quarter, and going into the half they were leading with nearly 16 points, but they squandered that as the Chicago Bulls rallied round to nick the game in the closing hours to record a blowout win of 120 points to 108 points, and 102 points rather for the Celtics. For the Chicago Bulls, you had DeMar DeRozan top scoring for the franchise with 25 points. You also had Nikola Vucevic with 18 points and a high 23 rebounds. That's impressive. That's immense, it must be said. 18 points and 23 rebounds from Vucevic, while DeMar DeRozan had 25 points. Talking about the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, the talisman for the franchise, had 26 points, while Bet the Boy Jaylen Brown could only contribute 21 points for them. Now, I'm talking about, the Celtics. They are 3-1 to the start of the season. That's 3 wins and a loss, while the Bulls are 2 wins and 2 losses, into the start of the season. The Bulls will be playing the Pacers next, which is on Wednesday, and that's tomorrow morning, while you have the Celtics having a few days to rest as they will be taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers on Friday. It will be intriguing to see how that pans out at some point. Let's move away from there now. Still talking basketball. Let's turn our attention now to the Philadelphia 76ers, and that's about, Joel Embiid as well as James Harden leading that franchise, showing that they have what it takes to once again compete favorably in the Eastern Conference. Talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, they were victorious, earning a routine win over the Indiana Pacers, courtesy of James Harden leading with 29 points. You also had, the Joel Embiid with 26 points. The 76ers looking good right about now. For the Indiana Pacers, it wasn't, a very good run for them, as Tyrese Halliburton had 19 points as well as 10 rebounds in the game. You also had Bud Hield with 18 points, but that was just about it, as they couldn't get close to the 76ers, who have started the season with a win finally. They have a win and 3 losses to the start of the season, while the Pacers as well have a record of 1 win and 3 losses to the start of the season. Excuse me. For the 76ers, they will be taking on the Raptors Wednesday and Friday, talking about consecutive away games that will be taking place in Toronto, and they'll be banking on James Harden, who has started the season like a house on fire, to continue his hot streak, even to lead them to a second win for the season. For the Pacers, well, they still have their work cut out. They'll be taking on the Chicago Bulls, who right now have 2 wins and 2 losses to the start of the season, but that'll be on Wednesday. While for the 76ers, they have successive matches against the Raptors on Wednesday and